So, I'm already about to cry, man. Ah! Oh, well. That's a part of who I am. So, I was talking with one of my daughters this morning, and it really was like an eye-opener for me when it comes to power. That's the word I want to use, power. So basically, I was telling her a story of yesterday, how I had the opportunity of visiting my mom, and she is rearranging our house. She is adding little spices to it, making it a little unique, and making it her own. And I felt like it was a privilege for her to include me on there. She wanted to show me some of the things that she was doing, some of the projects that she has in motion or whatever. And she asked me for suggestions. And I was like, whoa, what an honor. Y'all see me greasy. I got vapor rub on. I'm still recovering. But basically, I felt special. In that moment, I felt special because I know in our relationship there's been times that I felt like, from my perspective, that I probably, ain't no problem, definitely was some distrust there because of situations happened in the past. At one time, I was a gambling addict, and along with the addiction is being a liar, manipulator, all that other good stuff. But so I know there's time in my history where I was a person who couldn't be trusted. So the fact that I made it past the living room into other spaces and other places of the home just felt like a privilege to me. And I was balling up that moment, like, oh, okay, you're welcome. And she was showing me the different projects that she was working on and everything like that. And she invited me, asked me a suggestion about a certain project that she was working on. And in the moment, she was like, well, hey, I like that idea. Let's implement it now. Let's do it now. I was like, whew. Okay, this is moving fast. This is moving real quick for me. And it's putting some on the wall. And I guess I never really paid attention to our height difference. So I'm a few inches taller than my mom. And she was telling me, hey, you need to make some adjustments, realign it. And I was like, based on my height, it looked alright, but based on where she stood, was a little lower, she could see where, the edges needed to be adjusted. So, I know normally I probably would have taken it as, oh, here we go, not feeling like my judgment or, is good enough or blah, 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 blah. And I probably would have did what she asked me to do, but I would have carried like some residual frustration along with it. But in the moment, it occurred to me that because of the height difference, she's gonna see it another way. And I made a decision to ask her, hey, well, where does it need to go? And wherever she told me that it needed to go, I said, well, put your finger there. Put your finger in the place that it needs to go. And I'll hang it. And it was not a big deal to me at the moment, but just talking about it later, kind of rehashing the moment or whatever, I realized it was then that I gave my mom her power back. And I think, dang, I'm about to cry again. God dog it. I gave her her power back. I no longer try to prove that I am enough by hanging it where I want it to hang. I let her make a decision based on what she saw through her perspective. And she needed very little help from me. She just needed my height, basically, because if she could have did it on her own, she would have did it. So I just hung it, and we both stood back from it and said, very good, it looks good. And like I said, that was profound. It was big for me because I realized that, you know, as an adult child, sometimes it is easier to just take the same position as I did when I was a adolescent child, and to feel and take a traumatic response to things that happened when I was a child and keep trying to prove myself. I am enough. And it may not have came out of my mouth like that, but me trying to assert my own viewpoint onto something is just kind of forcing my way. And that wasn't useful or productive, but it was definitely a moment where it caused me to just revisit, you know, how I respond to things. How are you responding to traumatic instances that happened when you were younger? My mom didn't need much help at all. She honestly could have did it herself. She had a step stool or something like that. She could have did that on her own. But she also made a statement while we were walking around the house. She said, sometimes you're just in it and around it so long till you can't see it right. And she said, I'm glad that you were here so I could see it. So, because you saw it another way. And I'm grateful for that as well. It definitely made me feel appreciated, just because I was able to see. So, yeah. But I think sometimes that's what happens. We're in it for so long, and we feel so drained and powerless because it's just overwhelming. We're too close to it to see it another way. But sometimes I believe God allows others to come and help us to see it from a different perspective. And it just takes a little bit. It don't take a lot. And all the projects and, you know, ideas and suggestions that we got rambling around in our head, it's not for somebody else to carry the weight or to take the lead or take over. But sometimes they just have to remind you that you are powerful. You are full of power. You are full of great ideas. You are full of ability, and you are full of resources. You really have everything that you need. And that's God's way, I believe, sometimes, of, you know, standing alongside us, not for the person to carry it for us, but just to get us to look towards Him, to look in a direction so that we can actually lift our head to the hills from which come our help. And our help comes from Him. So, yeah. It's still blessing me, actually. I'm enjoying and I'm feel full because of that moment. And it's just reminded me that God said I would recover all, especially in the area of relationships. And that one with my mom is a pretty big deal. So I thank God for continuing to allow us to heal and to be connected and to be a source of strength and power to one another. And yeah, it is definitely healing, and I thank God for it.